Hi everyone and welcome back. I'm Greg aka Pyromaniac, and today I wanted to talk a little about Escape from Tarkov and hopefully help you with deciding whether you should buy this game or not. Now, you might hear me referring to Tarkov or EFT throughout this video, so this is just to let you know that I'm still talking about Escape from Tarkov, but I tend to abbreviate the title when I'm in conversation. First, a little bit about Tarkov's history to date. Escape from Tarkov is a first-person shooter game produced by Battlestate Games, who are a Russian-based developer. Escape from Tarkov has been available to buy for some time now, and many of you may have already heard of it. However, the game is still being developed whilst in live beta format. The game has gone through many iterations and patches since its early days. I myself was fairly late to the party in Tarkov terms, having only really started to play the game in early 2020, but there's always more content and players coming to Tarkov, so it's never too late to get into it. So, to explain the basics of the game, I'm using the term basics fairly broadly here because the game is far from basic in any sense. It has a level of depth you will not see in many games, let alone a shooter. Now, as I mentioned, EFT is a first-person shooter with a leveling mechanic, but it's perhaps not like many FPS games you may know. I will start by saying that EFT is punishing, so to enjoy this game you need to be prepared to deal with repeated failure and loss, but that is of course a great way to learn and get better at the game. In a nutshell, you have a main character in Tarkov called a PMC, which is short for Private Military Contractor. You gear up and take your PMC into raids, which are 20 to 50 minute encounters in a map in which you'll find other PMCs and scavs. Scavs are mostly AI bots which will try to kill you, although human players can also spawn in as a scav with basic equipment, and they will also try to kill you whilst you play on your PMC. The objectives of any raid can be quite varied. The main objective is to survive and extract at one of a handful of extraction points on each map. Extracting is just a matter of staying at a small point on the map for around 6 seconds. Sounds simple, right? As you try to extract though, you'll have to overcome other PMCs and scavs and ideally find some good loot to make the raid worth your while. The game also has a task system, which are essentially quests, and you work towards completing tasks, mostly during your raids. Tasks are essentially quests you can do on various maps in Escape from Tarkov. They provide a lump of experience points to progress your level and also provide reputation with the various traders in EFT from whom you can buy equipment such as armour and weapons. If you happen to die in a raid in EFT, you lose almost all of the items you are holding on your PMC, apart from a few which you can store in a special container which you retain through death. So as I said at the start, punishing is the word. A little bit about maps in Escape from Tarkov. There's currently 7 of them in which you can do a raid. You can raid each map during daytime or nighttime. There's no in-game map or even a mini-map, so you need to learn each of the maps in detail to excel at the game. I recommend use of a third-party map which you can open in a browser window on a second screen or on a tablet, which you can refer to whilst playing. Positional and geographical awareness is key on each of these maps in order to be successful at the game. The developers are planning more map releases in the future. At the time of this video, the next expected map is Streets of Tarkov, but no firm release date has yet been announced. Turning to the community in Escape from Tarkov and playing with friends, I can personally vouch for the on the whole excellence of the Tarkov community. Most people, even those you kill, know the nature of the game and are understanding of and even friendly about their demise. For this reason, I can absolutely recommend cooperating with a friend or acquaintance in EFT. This will generally enhance your game experience. However, do bear in mind that there are no friendly player indicators in EFT, nor in-game voice, so you will need to have an open line of communication with your friend or friends so that you can communicate your respective positions, especially when engaging in a firefight, to avoid any friendly fire incidents. Inventory management is a huge deal in Tarkov. You have an inventory where you store items you have found in raids and from quests. This inventory is outside of your raids, so it's like storage essentially. You store all your other worldly Tarkov possessions here as well, and your inventory space is limited. You can increase it in two ways. You can upgrade in-game by finding items in raid and paying in-game money, or you can purchase a more expensive edition of the game which grants you more inventory space. If you do buy this game and find yourself enjoying it, then I definitely recommend upgrading your game to the Edge of Darkness edition through Battle State Games, which will give you increased inventory space and some other in-game perks which will all enhance your experience in Tarkov. An interesting quirk in Tarkov, but which enhances your immersion in the game, is that you have no heads-up display, which is contrary to most FPS games you've probably played to date. Therefore, you have to check things like your ammo count in your gun manually by pressing a key on your keyboard or mouse. You do not always get precise readouts either, so for example your magazine ammo may only say something like more than half or less than half depending on the type of magazine you use. So you need to be familiar with your loadout and setup in order to understand that information which the game gives to you. In Tarkov, you have a hideout, which is essentially like your base of operations. You can use it to craft certain items for tasks, for ammunition for weapons, but it also offers perks to your PMC, such as an increase in experience or improvements to your health regeneration. You need to have fuel for your hideout to function, and you can find the fuel in raids or by buying it from players at the flea market, which I'll talk about in just a moment. You can upgrade certain aspects of your hideout too to unlock better perks and crafts. It costs money and uses lootable items to upgrade your hideout. I would recommend upgrading your hideout as soon as possible whilst you're playing the game, as it will generally make your game experience and task progression go much more smoothly. Escape from Tarkov has something called the flea market. You could equate this to a traditional auction house for the game. It unlocks when you're level 10 and grants you the ability to buy most in-game items from other players at a cost, of course, of in-game ruble currency. Access to the flea market is a huge boon at level 10, as it especially helps you with upgrading your hideout. There is an economy in Tarkov and prices can fluctuate, sometimes drastically. For example, at the time of preparing this video, there is a fuel shortage in the game, which has meant that the price of fuel to use in your hideout has rocketed. One of the best systems in Tarkov is its weapon modification interface and the general availability for mods for your weapons. You can take almost any gun in Tarkov and transform it from the most basic scav killing pea shooter to a juiced up PMC slayer, all for the price of a few 100,000 in-game rubles. You could potentially have hours of fun modding some beautiful and real world accurate weapons, money being no object of course. There are a number of survival elements in this game. During a raid, you have a hydration indicator and energy indicator in your inventory screen. If these drop to 0, you do not immediately die, but you will experience negative effects such as tunnel vision or a slow drain on your health. You can find nutrients and hydration in raid or take some into the raid with you to counter these negative effects, but it is something you will have to deal with whilst you're playing the game. The system of health, damage and healing in Tarkov is complex and far too detailed for me to cover all in this video. As a summary, there are different types of ammunitions and armours in Tarkov, meaning that you can take damage at different speeds and with different severity depending on the ammo used against you, whether you have armour of an appropriate level to protect from that, and depending on where the bullet hits your body. You can lose certain limbs in Tarkov and still live, but you will suffer effects based on the limb lost until it's healed, which you can do in raid. For example, if you're shot in the arm with high-end ammo, you might see that arm as blacked out from one shot, which will affect your aim until you're able to perform surgery in the raid to repair the arm. If your thorax or head are blacked out and you take one more instance of damage, you die. Finally, on the aspects of Tarkov, skills. You have skills in Tarkov which passively level up as you play. Each one levels up according to the activity that you're doing. The full list of skills is too extensive to go into here, but each skill will give you improvements to the things like your gun handling, how much damage you take from bleeding, and how fast you dehydrate. Skills do not all level up at the same rate, and some take a long time to reach maximum level, which is 50. So, to conclude, Escape from Tarkov is not a game for everyone. Anyone can play it, but in my view, to get enjoyment out of the game, you really have to have a reasonable level of understanding of the complicated systems in Escape from Tarkov. Often, this will mean you have to read up or watch videos about the game to understand this effectively. You will also likely have to spend many hours immersed in the game to get a feel for the gameplay, understand the maps, and put into practice what you learn about the game outside of it. For these reasons, I would recommend Tarkov only to those who have time to invest in it and have done some research about the game first. It is not a game I would expect anyone to just pick up and play, nor one which you could expect to play for a couple of hours a week and enjoy. In my view, you would need a minimum of 10 hours per week of gameplay, plus watching videos and content about Tarkov, for you to have even the modest understanding of the game in the first week or two of playing. If you are watching this video, then you've already taken or are taking the first step to researching the game, so I would definitely encourage you to carry on if you're interested so far. Get this game if you have time to invest in it and an interest in what you've heard in this video. I hope this has helped you and that you enjoyed this video. I'm planning more content in the coming weeks about Tarkov and the other games I enjoy playing. So if you think you'll enjoy this, then please feel free to subscribe, which will help me massively in building this channel. I also stream daily on Twitch, and you can find a link to my channel in the description of this video. Thanks so much everyone, and see you all soon.